memorandum of understanding, for instance, today on wind power, gigantic ambitions for more wind energy. Both of us from offshore wind, offshore, not just offshore, but floating platforms we want to work on together to produce substantial quantities of new wind power, which will enable us to produce more energy for our people together in a very short time. That strikes me as being a reasonable thing for the government of the UK to focus on. That is what we are focused on, with greatest respect to the evidence that you may cite. And secondly, on our relations with India and how we deal with questions about human rights or democratic values, of course we have these conversations, but the advantage of our friendship is we can have them, and we can have them in a friendly and private way. And I just want to say it is very important to realise that India has constitutional protections for communities. They're part of its constitution. India is a very, very different country from autocracies around the world. It is a great, great democracy, and that's why. And it is a stunning, shining fact. 1.35 billion people who live under a democracy, and that's something we should celebrate. And it offers us an opportunity for closer cooperation and partnership. That doesn't mean I'm not going to raise tough consular questions as I have today. And other difficult questions. Of course we do that, but we do that as friends. Okay, Mesa Hall, The Express.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Could I ask you to say a bit more about your discussions on a free trade deal and what that means in terms of widening visa access to the UK from India? Does that mean a relaxation of your points-based immigration policy? And can you explain, or how would you explain to Brexit voters that you've identified gaps in the labour market, but in this instance you're looking to fill them through immigration rather than encouraging firms to raise skills and raise wages?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mesa. I think the first challenge we have, of course, is to raise skills and raise expectations in our own country, get people into the jobs that we have. We've currently got about 500,000 jobs that aren't filled, possibly, well, actually 1.25 million vacancies. We have 1.8 million people unemployed. What I want to see is a lot of those people who are currently on the unemployment register off benefits and into work. And that's why we set out the Way to Work challenge earlier this year to get 500,000 off benefits and into work. That's making progress. I want to see people get the skills that they need to do the jobs that the UK has begging to be done. And there are many, many of them in lots of sectors. But we have some particular shortages. And if you look, for instance, at IT, you look at computer programming, there are areas where there's no question that Indian skills can make a difference. So you're right, Mesa, in your priorities. I'm going to prioritise skilling up the British people to do those jobs, but I'm not going to be dogmatic in refusing to allow people with skill and talent to aspire to come to the UK. And our country has done brilliantly well from having people of ambition and skill and genius coming to the UK. And all I would say is that we need to control it. And that's what we're doing. So it in no way changes, just to get to your point about the points-based system, in no way changes the advantages of the points-based system. On the contrary, the points-based system now gives us the ability to decide which sectors need which types of workers, and how we can deal with immediate shortages, and that's what we're going to do. Thank you. Did you have another question? That was it. Thanks. Heather Stewart, The Guardian.
Hello, Prime Minister. A new report from the Royal United Services Institute today says Russia is laundering components for weapons from Western countries, including the UK, through India. You've announced an open export licence for defence on this visit. How will you ensure nothing that we export to India ends up in Vladimir Putin's hands? And the second one, if I may, are you going to pass legislation allowing the government to suspend aspects of the Northern Ireland Protocol?
Thanks very much, Heather. So, look, one of the things that has been really effective in the sanctions that we've seen so far is the ban on tech transfer to Russia, and that really makes a difference. And it's starting to mean that they can't service their planes. There are real problems starting to arise. We've got to ensure we keep that ban tight. We'll be making sure that we don't allow any loopholes of any kind. So we will take steps to make sure that stuff does not go through other routes to Russia. On your point about the Northern Ireland Protocol, look, this is something that has been a consistent issue for the UK government, and I think it's very, very simple. It's about the balance of the Good Friday Agreement, and because of what is happening, I think that it'd be fair to say that the protocol really does not command the confidence of a large component of the population in Northern Ireland. We have to address that. We have to fix that. There are very substantial diversions of trade, and it's going on, and it's getting more acute. We have to fix that. We think we can do it with some very simple and reasonable steps, and we've talked repeatedly to our friends and partners in the EU. We'll continue to talk to them. But as I've said many times now, we don't rule out taking further steps if that's necessary, and that's the position. But I've said that many times. Of course. Steve, that goes without saying. Steve Swinford, The Times.
Prime Minister, Western intelligence officials briefed us yesterday that the war in Ukraine could continue until the end of next year, and they said bluntly that Russia could win. That is a scenario that's possible. Do you accept that assessment, particularly that time frame? And secondly, you're reopening our embassy in Kiev. Can we expect regular visits by you and other ministers in coming months?
So, Steve, yes. I mean, look, I think the sad thing is that that is a realistic possibility. Yeah, of course. Putin has a huge army. He has a very difficult political position because he's made a catastrophic blunder. He has the only option he now has really is to continue to try to use his appalling grinding approach, led by artillery, trying to grind the Ukrainians down. And he's very close to securing a land bridge in Mariupol now. The situation is, I'm afraid, unpredictable at this stage. We've just got to be realistic about that. But what we've also seen is the incredible heroism of the Ukrainians and their willingness to fight. And I tell you something, I think that no matter what military superiority Vladimir Putin may be able to bring to bear in the next few months, and I agree, it could be a long period, he will not be able to conquer the spirit of the Ukrainian people. That is just an observable fact. On the contrary, what he is doing every day is strengthening and reinforcing that will to resist in the people of Ukraine. And so I think what we in the supporters of the Ukrainian people need to think about is what further steps we can do to support them militarily. And you know about what we're doing with the artillery that we're sending, the shells that we're sending, both NATO standard and Warsaw Pact, a former Warsaw Pact standard. You know about the armoured cars, 150 armoured cars. I think perhaps what I haven't said in public before is that we're also looking more at what we can do to backfill in countries such as Poland, who may want to send heavier weaponry to help defend the Ukrainians. So we're looking at sending tanks to Poland to help them as they send some of their T-72s to Ukraine, and other steps like that. And you know, I think about the anti-ship defences and so on. So we've got to look at what more we can do militarily. We've got to keep intensifying the economic sanctions. And that's what we're doing. We want to make sure that there is wave after wave of intensifying pressure on Putin. And we've also got to set out a vision for the future of Ukraine in the security architecture of Europe? And where does Ukraine fit in now? Because that, I think, is a question that everybody will need to answer. And the Ukrainians will need to be able to answer that question if and when there is ever a realistic negotiation, which doesn't seem likely at the present time. But eventually, what the Ukrainians want, and I think are now going to get, is a collection of security guarantees from like-minded countries, security commitments about what we can do to back them up with weaponry, with training, and with intelligence sharing. Not like an Article 5 guarantee, won't be exactly the same thing, but what it will be I hope, it will enable the Ukrainians to offer deterrence by denial, and to make sure that their territory is so fortified as to be impregnable in the future to further attack from Russia. That's what we need to do. And on your question about getting ministers to Kyiv, I'm all in favour of that. But we have no immediate announcements. I think it's a good thing if people do go there to show their support, their solidarity with the Ukrainian government and with Volodymyr Zelensky. Thanks. I think that was both things. Can I go to Kamaljit Sandhu from India Today?
So my question is,
Sorry.
India has several concerns as far as Narendra Modi and Vijay Mallya are concerned. How is UK taking those up? Also, there is also an issue about Khalistani extremists. There has been a concern from the Indian side for quite some time. What actions have been taken?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kamaljit. So it won't surprise you to learn that both these things were raised with us. And we have a very strong view in the UK that we don't tolerate extremist groups setting up in the UK with a view to causing threatening other countries, threatening India. But what we've done in particular as a result of this visit is set up an anti-extremist task force to see what more we can do to help India in that particular respect. And on the two individuals that you mentioned for the extradition cases, I think there are legal technicalities that have made it very, very difficult. But what I can tell you is that the UK government has ordered their extradition, and that we have said that from our point of view we want them to be taken back to India for trial. And perhaps I should just say, perhaps going back to Mesa's point, we welcome people who have talent and brilliance coming from India to the UK. We don't welcome. I want to make it absolutely clear now. We don't welcome people who want to use our legal system to evade the law here in India. So let me be absolutely clear about that. Let's go to Rizal Hassan Laskar from the Hindustan Times.
Mr. Prime Minister, you spoke you spoke both yesterday and today about the ambitions for having the free trade agreement by October.
Yes.
What, if any, are the sticking points or the tough asks that are, that you need to surmount before October? And secondly, if I may, the expanded defense partnership, India and the UK haven't had a major defense deal since 2003 when the deal for the Hawk aircraft was signed. And now India has moved towards manufacturing most of the defense equipment within the country. How are you going to work with India on this aspect? Is it going to be technology transfers or boosting Indian production?
Thank you. Thanks very much, Rizal. So look, there are several things there. First of all, the free trade deal. I think there are going to be some difficult issues. Tariffs. Tariffs on whiskey is a tough one. It would be a great thing, I think, if we could fix that. But there are all sorts of things that need to be addressed. I think, but there are big opportunities, and we can get it done. and the firm message has gone out from our friends to make progress. And so I'm optimistic. And on your point about defence and how that's going to work, look, you're entirely right. What we've agreed is that there has to be a focus on a company-to-company basis. And so when we look at these some of these projects that I've described, whether it's electric propulsion for ships or new aero engines for fighters or undersea technology or whatever it happens to be, what we're going to do is make sure that we bring our companies together. And there are some great companies in India, but that we have an approach of co-production, joint development, and doing it that way. So it satisfies the the Make in India objective, but also works in terms of technology transfer. And what we agreed at this meeting is that our national security advisors, our defence ministers, our foreign ministers will now get together in a rolling programme so that we make progress on this within a year. But there is a big agenda of work already underway. So that's it, folks. I think I think I have now addressed my budget of questions. I just want to remind you, in case you'd forgotten, the key statistics and takeouts from this wonderful mission and visit to India. £1 billion of investment in the UK, 11,000 jobs. I hope that hasn't escaped you. How many times have I said that? An MOU on wind, green hydrogen, working together on solar energy, cooperation on small modular reactors, the whole security and defence partnership that we've just discussed, new partnerships with universities and new partnerships on medicine, including new work on malaria vaccines to follow up on the groundbreaking work that the UK and India did, for instance, over the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, of which I am personally the beneficiary. I don't know how many others are in this room. Thank you all very much. See you soon. Thank you.